passionate to beat somebody. We're passionate to beat everybody.
My expectation is we go out and dominate and create a nightmare and make people never want to play you again.
If you are a fan of another team and your coach is not out there doing everything that Kirby Smart is doing right now, you are already losing. You feel however you want to feel about that.
Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide for 4 quarters. They got to see us in our house for 4 quarters. They got to look us in the eye for 4. This is about us and our family and our house. This is about us. This is our mentality. We ain't backing down. We ain't running. Set a tone, send a message. This is our house. Physical toughness wins in football now. And if you in this room, you got it. If you come in here, you better believe in it. Because this physical toughness, it's what makes the difference. Elite focus. That's all I do to the guy across from me. I'm fixing to whip his ass. Not in my box, not today. It's about us. It's about our family. We attack. You take that helmet and you strike them. And you strike them and you strike them. That's how you get respect. Physically, I will break them.
Welcome in to Sunday Bones here on the channel, the week where we look back at everything that happened over the course of the week in the world of Georgia football, and we talk about it and break it all down. And I don't do it alone. I lean on you guys in the chat to help me get through this thing, because sometimes I miss stuff and I don't like to do that. So I got to ask the question, now that the 4th of July is over, does that mean that summer's over? Sort of kind of feels like that if you have children going back to school. I went out yesterday and school stuff is already out in the stores. Well, it was the day before yesterday, I guess. Already out in the stores. Teacher friends are telling me they've got 20 days until they have to be back in the classroom. So it kind of has that feel. As parents, we have to start implementing, let's gear down the summer activities at night so we can get back on some kind of a schedule. I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way? I'm going to try to not let it feel that way as long as possible, but boy, it kind of starts to tug at you. So the bright side of that just means that, you know, we're closer to football, but who doesn't love the summer months? Am I right? I sure do. I hope you guys have had a great week. We've had an adventurous week around these parts. We've managed a lot of stuff, kept our eyes on some other stuff, and we're still here. The heat didn't take us. And I'm happy to say that I made it. That's what I'm doing. I hope you all had a wonderful celebration yesterday if you chose to get out and be a part of it. And when you look around at what our Georgia Bulldogs were doing this week, they were staying busy too. But we'll get into that in just a second. First thing I want to do is welcome everybody in. Let's see who's here. Scott's here from Bonaire. Welcome in, Scott. It's good to see you, friend. Timothy's in here. Steele, Bruce, the usual suspects holding it down. There's Carol. Shane making an appearance here with us on a Sunday night. So it's good to see everybody in here. And if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or X, or you're just here on YouTube with us where we love to be, or if you're listening on podcast, come on back, drop it in the notes. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, because I always love to know who's out there and checking in on our Bulldogs when there are no games to talk about, if you know what I mean. So it's good to see everyone in here. And I tell you what, I was thinking about what today is, and this point in the summer, it's kind of like what they call the shoulder seasons in travel and real estate, sort of, because it's not summer, right? It's not the dead of summer in terms of where all the activity would be in a travel year. The shoulder season, so late spring or early fall, right? Where you can still travel, have a great time. The weather's not too crazy. I kind of think that's where we are in talking about college football and Georgia right now. We're kind of in a shoulder season. We can see SEC Media Days. It's 2 or 3 weeks away. We are not yet to the season, which of course is like the big what summer is to the travel season. And then on the other side, in January, December, January, you have the playoff, you have recruiting, you have transfer portal, you have all that stuff. So we are kind of in a shoulder season right now. And it's where the preseason and postseason accolades kind of overlap, depending on the sport you're talking about. So like this week for Georgia, one of the things that came out and became official for everybody who was paying attention at all, it was something we already knew, but Daniel Jackson, the Georgia Bulldogs All-American catcher who propelled the Dogs back to the World Series this year, was named the Golden Spikes Award winner this week. Again, everybody knew this. This is something that is very richly deserved. I believe this is Georgia's second Golden Spikes winner now in 3 years. If it's not 3 years, it's 4. Charlie Condon won it for the Dawgs just a couple years ago, I believe, and now you've got Daniel Jackson. So it speaks to what is happening in the Georgia baseball program right now. They appear to be a team that's going to be perennially a contender and always a threat in the SEC, and now moving forward to make it to the College World Series. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to Daniel Jackson. Very well deserved and a whole lot of fun to watch. Charlie Condon, by the way, just a quick update on him. He is just killing it in the minors over this last week. Like, just home run after home run. I'm not sure what his parent club is doing, not bringing him up. What are you playing for at this point? Bring the young man up. Let him get his feet wet in the big leagues and get him ready for next year, because he sure is tearing it up in the minors and showing that he deserves that opportunity. So we'll see how long it takes for that to happen. Now, that was just the first thing that got my attention this week. Pardon me, had to have a sip there. This is just the first thing that got my attention this week. But again, we're talking about those shoulder seasons. So we were just talking about baseball's postseason awards, right? And they did most of those in June. But this one, yes, it was at the end of June. But now we're into July. But it was just announced this week. So there's baseball. Now we are starting to see the preseason football awards and watch lists and all of those sort of things come out. And this week, Georgia had a few names that popped up on those lists as well. So when we talk about whether or not this team is talented, and when we ask, do they have the leadership that's necessary to help them advance to the level they want to advance to, it starts when you look at the people who are being named All-America. That means that you are getting it done both on and off the field and every facet of the game. And when you look at the 3 that were named by the Walter Camp Foundation this week, you have 3 very, very solid candidates. First team, earning first team honors would be KJ Bolden back at safety. Now, y'all know I love KJ, but you also know that I'm asking him to do a little bit more this year. But he was also joined on the list but with a second team mention, and that would be Drew Bobo and Ellis Robinson. Now, I think both of those players have the potential to end the year on the first team, but we will see. They're starting out in a good spot here on the second team heading into the season. So if they do what we believe they can do, they might be able to make their way onto that first team All-American list, which would be pretty cool. But let's go back to KJ. Y'all know that I've talked about KJ Bolden and said, hey, he is great. He is clearly the best safety in the conference. He's an All-American as a freshman, and then he's on the preseason watch list again this year, or named a Walter Camp All-American right now going into the season. So he is someone who a lot is expected of this year, both just being a Georgia Bulldog, just everything that goes along with that, but also his play on the field, primarily his play on the field. But I'm asking for even more. I'm asking for that impact sort of difference maker, that game changer. I want to see more of those plays from KJ this year. Now, remember, I also said the same thing about Gunnar Stockton. Like, I understand he might not have the same preseason hype that KJ has, but he's going to touch the football every play for Georgia. He has to make things happen for them. But on defense, I think it starts with KJ. Like, if KJ Bolden gets through this year, regardless of whether he's named SEC all first team, coaches, whatever, if he is an All-American multiple times over, those are tremendous awards. And he could win all those things and Georgia still not do what they want to do in the season. But I personally, just my position on this, I think if a player like KJ Bolden fails to do what I'm asking for him to do, which is change the game week after week, if that's not something we can see, and it doesn't just mean his statistics, by the way, I think that goes a long way in this discussion, but that's not the only way. There are other things that we might be able to see him do where he's changing the game week after week. I think that's what KJ has to do if Georgia's going to be successful the way they want to be. So I know that bar is high, But when you are a 5-star plus player, when you are now entering your 3rd year as a starter, when you have all the physical skills, somebody's got to do it. It's people like you that are supposed to do it. So I'm looking for that from KJ, and I want to see it. And again, I'm not trying to say he's not a great player. I'm just saying, like Spider-Man says, to whom much is given, much is expected. So come on, KJ. Maybe we'll just call you Spider-Man this year. Maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know. We'll see. The other person that I mentioned here, first name off the second team, would be Drew Bobo. Yes, Mike's son was not just brought to Georgia because he was Mike's son. He was brought to Georgia because he is a very intelligent football player. He understands everything that you're trying to do in the offensive scheme. He knows every position along the offensive line. He is an outstanding example of what Coach Smart calls cover down, where after the play, he's sprinting down the field in case the ball comes loose on the tackle at the end or something. He's in position to protect the football for Georgia in that instance. He's given everything that he is to Georgia, just like his dad has. Now, we know how important Drew was because of what happened last year. He gets hurt in the Georgia Tech game, I believe it was. Yeah, the Georgia Tech game in the first half, doesn't play the second half. Then Malachi Tolliver has to take over from there, handles business in the championship game. And then in the Sugar Bowl, it seemed, I can't throw rocks directly at Tolliver, but it just didn't seem like the offensive line looked as fluid as it usually does. And you have to put that directly on the fact that Bobo was not able to play. He is a physical presence. He works well with his guards and other linemen. He knows what to do. He's a leader in the huddle. It matters when he's on the field. And so Drew Bobo has been honored with a preseason second-team All-American status from Walter Camp, the Walter Camp Foundation. And he deserves it. The young man has done everything that Georgia's asked him to do. So hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully we see him over the course of this season doing the kind of things that he did last year for Georgia. And I'm sure he, like everybody else, will say, I can get better. I can do more. Fantastic. Let's see it, Drew. But congratulations on being named as a second-team All-American to the Walter Camp Foundation. That's wonderful. Now, the other one that really is probably not going to surprise anybody would be Ellis Robinson. The fact that he made this list, and it's preseason. So this is the spot where different publications or foundations look around the country and go, who was a pretty good bet based off of what they did last year? That's how they make these assessments. Well, you know, all Ellis did was go out and be named Defensive Player of the Year last year as a freshman. So they're like, well, that's clearly the guy we're going to look at as a potential All-American this year. And the fact that he is in year 2, right, a redshirt sophomore, year 3 overall, that means that potentially there are other players somewhere across the country that are a year older than him that is on the first team. But Walter Camp said he's that good that we're going to put him on the second team. And potentially he's a guy that could play his way onto that first team list. Now, he led Georgia in interceptions last year with 4. And all those happened on the back half of the year, save one very early. And he just seemed to always be around the ball. The longer the season went, the better position you could see him having. He was just getting stickier and stickier by the week. And that sort of thing, I have to believe, is only going to carry over at that position because that's where you learn with every play. You get more comfortable. You get more confident. And he, again, already, we know he has all the skills, all the physical tools. He just has to put himself in position and then make the play when the opportunity is there. And much like he did here, if you're watching on YouTube, as we see against Georgia Tech, the ball was overthrown, but tremendous body control, go up and play the ball in the air and, you know, bring it down. So he absolutely has the potential to earn his way onto that first team All-America list. Now, the other question is kind of like all of these awards and things, the stats do matter. So you have to wonder how many people are actually going to challenge him a lot this year. So that's going to be very interesting too, because teams will try to scheme open their best guys. They're not just going to say, hey, me and you all day like Deion and Jerry Rice used to do. That's not how today's football is played. So teams are going to scheme. They're going to try to move their guys. and get Ellis off of their number one whenever possible. So it'll be interesting to see how many opportunities he gets to make a play on the ball, but I'm looking forward to him having a big year. Again, I will warn everybody, if you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan, this very, very well could be his final ride in Athens, because after 3 years out of high school, you can go to the league. Now, should he stay and does he have an opportunity to come back? Absolutely, even under the old rules, but especially with the new rules that have been put on the table and are probably going to be implemented here, where you get that 5-year window to play. So if something happens and it, he decides to come back, then that's glory for Georgia. But I tell you, you just enjoy him while he's here, because I don't know that that's going to be the path ahead for all of us. But Ellis Robinson, Drew Bobo, and KJ Bolden all earning All-America honors this week for the Dogs, which, that's pretty doggone cool. So let me take a pause here and just take a look over here in the chat and see what's happening, what you guys are talking about. Oh, yeah, Bruce, talking about Atlanta. Trust me, friend, I am not far from Atlanta. It is full-on summer. We've got it this week. Thankfully, it might be breaking a little bit here over the next few days, but boy, oh boy, we have felt it. We actually caught a bit of a break yesterday because we had afternoon pop-up thunderstorms that sort of cooled the atmosphere. So by the time we got outside last night for the fireworks and that sort of thing, it wasn't brutal. Like it was decent, and we could be out there and enjoy our time, and we had a good time with the girls and some friends. And so again, I hope if you chose to have a good time last night, you guys were able to do the same. Now, let's see what else we got going on. Who else is chatting it up over here? Carol's letting you know how hot it is. She knows, especially down there in South Georgia. Yeah, Carol and I think Timothy, all you guys that are down there, South Georgia, south of the Nat line, I want no part of that right now. My brother's down there. I don't want to go visit right now. I love him. I don't want to go visit right now. You can keep all that. That Nat, get down there below the Nat line. That's tough when the weather's this hot, because you're just hot, miserable, and then you're bothered. And I don't want any part of that. My babies, my youngest, trust me, she has zero tolerance for that sort of atmosphere. So we can't just be running off down south of the Nat line when it's this hot. That's just not, if we do, we are not outside. I promise you that. My girls aren't quite built for that just yet. Oh, Bruce is saying Ellis is a confident DB and he looks to take the ball. Absolutely. That's what you got to be. And that's what we need him to be. Again, and you go back, rewatch the videos I did from earlier in the year where we were talking about the possibilities of what this could mean for Georgia. Imagine you've got a confident Ellis on one side, and then you've got an impactful KJ Bolden on the back end. Plus, you've got veteran leadership at that star position, maybe Khalil Barnes, right? I'm telling you, we could see windows of streaks of time here in the season where teams just won't throw the ball. They'll be like, I can't even throw it over there. Between KJ Bolden and Ellis Robinson and Khalil Barnes floating around, at the star position, I'm not even looking that direction. I'm looking over here. And that's where that second safety, that's where DeMello Jones or Braylon Conley or whoever it is that's manning that role, that's where you see those guys have an opportunity to really make an impact this year. So, but as I mentioned just a couple weeks ago, the other twist of that is that with all of this veteran talent around him now in the secondary, maybe that is the thing that's going to free KJ Bolden up to take more chances, to try to go be a playmaker, to try to break on a ball that maybe before he was afraid to break on because he didn't want to let people get behind him. You can see how it could work out. And that's going to be one of the mini games inside the games that are going to happen this year. And I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch, especially when you're watching it as close as we are. And Tyrus, welcome in, bud. It's good to see you in here. He's asking what we think about Tyriq Green. And I talked about Tyriq a couple weeks ago. If you missed it, jump back in the video log there. You'll see where we break down the secondary, or better yet, head on over to Plus and get all the deep dive information. But Tyriq Green is somebody who's going to play for Georgia. He may play his way into the star role. He may play his way into that safety spot. I mean, Zion Branch is going to have an opportunity. The other transfer, Jamarly Riddle's going to have an opportunity, but we don't know how long he's going to be out or if he's going to be available off the first part of the game there, the first part of the season, because of his issues off the field. So there's an opportunity for Tyriq Green to play early and often. I mean, ask Lawson Lucky about Tyriq. He was watching film and somebody just kept making interceptions, and Lawson's like, who's that guy? And who's number 23? And he had to learn his name. True freshman Tyriq Green. He's just a guy who's going to make plays. So they won't keep him off the field. I just don't know how often he's going to be on the field and if that's going to be as a starter or if it's going to be as a rotational piece. But he is going to play. And a guy like that is the kind of guy that you can see on special teams as well, because he's absolutely great with the football in his hands. And a playmaker is always a playmaker. It doesn't matter where he's at on the field. So he could be the guy who you free up to block a kick in the punt game, right? There are a lot of ways that you can use a player like Tyriq Green, and that is going to be very exciting to watch. It's not a question of if with Green. It's just a question of when. And then more specifically, how. We're all going to see it. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it. And that's exactly what Scott's saying right here. It sounds like he's calling his shot that Green's going to score a touchdown this year in the return game, which would be electric for Georgia if they get something like that happening. If they have a presence back there that is a true threat to do that. And Green absolutely is. So that's going to be something that's fun to watch as well. Oh, well, Tyrus, I talk about DeMello all the time. I mean, honestly, the only reason you're not hearing me talk about him even more is because of who he's in that secondary with. And then secondarily, the puzzle discussion is the interesting part, because I think most people are just going to say, well, Ellis is on one side, DeMello's on the other, as a bit of an afterthought. No disrespect intended, because think back a couple years when Kamari Lassiter was the afterthought, right? You had other guys on the field when Dalen Everett was the afterthought and people kept throwing the ball that way. That's what's going to happen with DeMello this year. I just talked about it. Do you want to throw against KJ Bolden and Ellis Robinson, or do you want to take your shot against DeMello, especially based off what you saw in the Sugar Bowl? I think people are going to try DeMello early, and he's going to have an opportunity to make plays. And if he does, then that's going to change everything. So no disrespect here for DeMello. I promise you, I've been on DeMello since he was in high school, like all the way back at Swainsboro. I'm like, Georgia has to land this dude. That's non-negotiable. And they did. So that was outstanding. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be, I'm with you, Keith. I think they're going to be sound and better. So I think we've got that to look forward to for sure. Oh, yeah. And I was just talking about Khalil. Absolutely, Tyrus. Absolutely. Kiyoshi back in here. Hey, everybody. I think by mid-season, Boogie's going to be he's going to be right in the bigger role there. And I think that could very well be the case. Again, the guys who are older are going to be given that opportunity at safety. Riddle and Zion Branch, who's been doing well. But playmakers are playmakers. They just are. The ball finds them, and they just, when it comes their way, they do what they do. And that very easily could be the way that Tyriq ends up on the field more than maybe any of us are saying with our whole chest right now. I'm telling you he's going to play. I just don't know when or exactly how much. And yeah, Bruce, I knew you'd mention this somewhere along the way. That defensive line is going to be a factor in all of this, because if they're putting pressure on the quarterback, if they're speeding them up, if they're choking out the run game, you got to throw it. You got to throw it at that point. And with the DBs you got back there, you'd be like, all right, good luck. Good luck. With the athletes you've got at linebacker, good luck. We'll take our chances. So absolutely right. It all starts up front. Always does. Scott, I don't know if that's intended for me, but I did a full video on this, broke it down over on Plus if you're interested. The 5 years to play for rule and how that works out, I am a fan. generally speaking, I'm a fan. That's more in line with the football that I grew up with. You don't have players that are staying in football till 26, 27, 28 years old, which is taking opportunities from actual high school players to make a roster as a freshman. I think it's good for all of those things. So I personally am a fan of that rule as it is right now. And I'm sure y'all get into it in the chat more, but I think that's a big one. And I think that it is not just a domino. I think it's kind of a heavy domino because of the impact that it could ultimately have on the whole transfer thing. And then also the NIL piece, because if you know that you've only got 5 years, you're not going to spend 3 of those years bouncing from school to school looking for a new opportunity. Maybe you're more enticed to stay and work and grow and buy into the decision you made. And maybe that raises the value of that original commitment and signing that you do as a high school freshman. You really want to invest your time, work to get better, and therefore you're not looking to transfer all the time. And that could squeeze NIL back a little bit. Or maybe on the NIL front, it jacks it up even more, where, as Kirby Smart said, if you can get them under contract, then you're like, okay, freshman, we're going to pay you X. Here's the deal, though. You're not transferring out of here in 2 to 3 years, and we're going to get this contract, and we're going to make it so prohibitive for you to transfer that you're just not even really going to think about it. So there's a whole lot of legal wrangling that's going to happen around this. But again, on the whole, I like it. Yes, Tyrus, that's my short answer to that question. Will Talon Taylor step up and be a playmaker for Georgia this year? Will he have a big impact? Yes, he will. The only thing I can see that derails that is if, unfortunately, he were to have another injury that causes him to miss time. Anything short of that, everybody's going to know who Talon Taylor is pretty quick. That's what I think about that. Yeah, no, Bruce, fair point. Absolutely a fair point there. And yes, Shane, to your point specifically, Shane says, I feel like depth will be built easier. To that point specifically, I think that what Kirby Smart talks about all the time, which is who can play winning football, so quality depth, aka winning depth, I think, to your point, yes, will be easier to build, because the guys who are doing the work and they're there, then they're bought in. And I think that just adds to your ability to make that kind of move. So I'm with you on that. Something I want to take a second and tell you guys and anybody watching that, yes, we're doing this show live on YouTube tonight, but if you're not, it would do me a huge favor if you headed on over to your local podcast platform, wherever you listen to them, and if you would rate the show, follow the show over there, help me get the word out there about what it is we're doing, so you can just take all this goodness with you anytime, anywhere you go. I would really appreciate that. YouTube's great, but I hope I'm producing the show that you actually want to watch. But if you can't, I would love for you to still check out our content on the audio platforms over on Spotify and Apple. Please give us a shot over there and tell your friends, send them a link, let them know we're out there, because that would be very, very helpful for us. Now, the other thing that was going on this week, of course, was Independence Day. Can't move on without that. Georgia said, hey, happy Independence Day, 4th of July to everybody. And I thought that was cool. Obviously, at this point, it's kind of obligatory. I mean, no disrespect with that, but everybody is going to do whatever they want to do to sort of say, hey, don't forget, we're part of this too. Go team, go USA. And you can see that Georgia jumped on the board with that as well, as you would expect that they would. Shoot, I even had a little fun with it this week. I went out there and I have AI assistants that help me with these things where we create images to sort of drive home the picture behind the stories I'm trying to tell in certain circumstances. And this week I posted a new video earlier where Georgia declared their independence. the Declaration of Bulldog Independence. If you haven't watched that video, I hope you will. Go check it out. It was fun to think about. It was fun to make. It was fun to create this imagery and you know, say that we were out there like letting everybody know who and what Georgia's all about. So I had a good time with that. And I have another video in the barrel that I'm working on that should be out soon, hopefully in the next couple of days. Life happens. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan. But I'm looking forward to creating that for you too. I hope you'll enjoy it. And, you know, yeah, we do a lot of analysis here. We do a lot of what's exactly going to happen. What do we expect? And a few reactions, but occasionally I like to let my imagination run. And as I like to say, spin the cube a little bit and give you guys a different thing to think about. And hopefully that's enjoyable and not silly. I hope you enjoy it. I had fun with it. I hope you had fun with it because that's what it's intended as, fun. So I hope you guys are having a good time with it because I did. And again, check it out. It exists. You can find it over on the Patreon page. There's an essay that goes along with it. There's the video where we walk you through it. So I hope you'll check that out. And I mentioned Patreon right there. If you haven't, there's still 2 months in my mind of summer left before the season gets here. And if you want access to everything that we do over there on Patreon, now is the time. So $3 gets you access to everything we do over the next 2 months. That's all of the behind the scenes. That's all the giveaways. That's all of the private stuff. $3, $1.50 for each month gets you all of that. And then at the end, you have an opportunity to stay on board with us if you think we've done a good job. So I would encourage you all to head on over there, give it a shot if you haven't already. Link is in the description below. Just click that. It'll take you right there, walk you right through the steps. Come join us. It is a good time over there. So for the most part, that was this week. I mean, it has been a good one. You know, we rode the roller coaster this week. There was some stress going on this week. There's some stuff nobody was expecting. You worry about people you care about, all that kind of stuff. But we made it through another week. And if it's Sunday, that means we're one more weekend closer to Georgia football, which is, you know, a lot of fun. That's what we're all waiting on. That's what we're all getting back to. And I really do hope that if you've had an opportunity this summer, I hope you haven't had to work full throttle the whole time. I hope you've been able to take a break somewhere here or there and enjoy your family and be outside and do some stuff like that, because soon enough, we're all going to tell ourselves as Georgia Bulldog fans that, man, I want to watch football and I want to cover this for what's happening with the Dogs or whatever. And those opportunities to relax are going to be more difficult to come by. So while you have an opportunity, if you have an opportunity, I hope you take advantage of it here this summer and get out there and do some fun stuff. Because I'm a little frustrated, not with anyone I know personally, but I'm also like just perplexed. We are here in July and we have plans for a trip, but there are so many moving pieces of the whole thing that I can't even tell you where that trip is right now. So we're going to make the effort to get out there and do some stuff away from, you know, all of this day-to-day kind of stuff and have a little fun. I hope you do too. And, you know, staycations are a huge part of that. You don't have to go anywhere to have a good time. So just try to have a good time. Get out there and do what you can and enjoy it. I think that'll be a good thing. Let's see. Now, I cannot pronounce this, but I'm going to say 6'9". Jumped into the chat here and says, Jeremy Bell needs to see the field. He's a fantastic athlete. I think he can be a weapon for Georgia. I believe he will see the field here in 2026 in a bigger role than he had in 2025. And I am looking forward to that. I think the young man was I don't remember if he was a preferred walk-on or if classified just as a straight walk-on. Doesn't matter. He's done what Georgia's asked him to do. He has gone out there and shown that he is an athlete that can make plays. We saw it again at G-Day, again for the second year. He needs an opportunity, and a lot of times with the opportunity, you hate that it has to come at the expense of something bad happening for someone else. But again, we've seen how they're using him so far, which is he can run the 9. We don't know how strong his full route tree is, but he absolutely has speed to burn, and he's good with the ball in his hands. So the potential exists that he could just be used in the sweeps and return game. He could be used on the end of rounds. There's no exact telling, but I think they're going to try to get the ball in his hands. We will see. You know, skill sets are what they are, and that's one of the things that has to be factored in too. Like, what is it that he's really good at? I mean, all you have to do is look at what Zach did last year. He was really good once the ball was in his hands in small spaces. So they just gave it to him as quickly as they could. No sense in having him run 10, 15 yards down the field. They just wanted him to have the ball and then make a play. I was leaning over here because I almost forgot to share something with you guys. And I'm going to throw this back up on the screen here just to give you a full picture of it. But, and I've mentioned this before, so the fact that I'm bringing it up is not new, but I'm going to give you another look at what it is. But for the month of July, I have worked out an agreement with our friends over at, oh gosh, the name has jumped out of my head right now. But we've worked out our friends an arrangement to where the giveaway here in July over on the Patreon channel is going to be these hats. Now, this is one. This is the black version. But notice there's a white version too. Peach Jack Apparel. Good Lord. I don't know how I like to jump in. But Craig over at Peach Jack was like, hey, man, let's do something. Or I reached out to him. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do something. So he sent me this package that has these hats. This one right here, my favorite, I think. I don't know, though. This next one I'm going to show you might be, because it's pretty flippin' sweet. This hat right here is awesome. It's the reverse of that one, right? So let me know which one's your favorite. Here's the deal. Whoever wins this giveaway in July, and the only way to be entered in this giveaway, to be clear, is if you are a member over on Plus. If you are a member over at How About Them Dogs Plus, then you will automatically be entered to win this giveaway. But that's the only way you can get entered. You don't get one hat. There will not be 4 winners. You get all 4 hats if you are the winner for July. So that is the big giveaway for July. Again, in partnership with our friends over at Peach Jack Apparel. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the only giveaway. Just putting that out there, just so you can think about it. But the only way to be entered for those hats is to be a member over at Plus. I hope you'll consider it because, again, it's more than just that. I think the content's pretty good, especially that extra stuff that we do, like the declaration video, like the video I'm working on right now. And again, there is a big project that's just ever building in the background. So when that one comes, the people over at Patreon will be first to hear about it. They will have first access to it. And I'm looking forward to being able to share that when the time comes. So again, Patreon, hit us up over there. I promise it's a good time. Now, I got to take a sip. Thank you. Apologies. But man, whew. No one's talking. Gotta have it. Let's see. Tyrus is saying, how do you feel about the 3-star players that's committed? He says he likes it because they're probably staying longer, and that helps with depth. Yeah, for sure. But I would never want to sacrifice talent, playmaking ability, just because I think other people don't want them or that they don't want to go somewhere. And I know that's not exactly what you're saying. But there are folks out there who would absolutely make that argument. They would just rail against the 3-star commits. And I hear it all the time in my comments. But here's the thing. And if you go back and watch the video that I did earlier with Coach Hayes from Coach Chris Hayes from Coach Hayes Huddle, longtime friend of the channel. And also he is a partner affiliate with Georgia Sports Autographs like I am. If you go back and find that video, and especially if you're over on Plus, you get the extended version. There's a whole section over there that's not on YouTube. We talk about this specifically, and we walk you through what we think is happening and what it looks like with these guys and the evaluation process and who is doing that evaluation paired with the overall roster management style for what Kirby Smart is doing. And long story short, and again, go watch the video so you get the full breadth of what we're saying. But long story short, I don't mind whatever the rankings are. And I mean that. It's nice to have a splash where you're like blue chip 4-star commits, 5-star commits. Of course it is. But that's what it is. It's just it's not just for the fans, but the entire market of promoting that sort of thing based on a rating is just for the fans, because no coach worth his salt is going to put 1 ounce of weight on any assessment made by Chad Simmons or anybody else. They will not do it. Doesn't mean they don't like these people. It simply means it's not those people's job to evaluate talent for their team, which tells you one thing very, very clearly. Kirby Smart takes the players that he believes fit his system, can play the game of football, and will help him win. Full stop. So if you are a 2-star player and Kirby Smart offers you, I'm all right with that. I've been around the game of football as close as you can be since I was 7 years old. I'm 50. And yet there is no way I have an opinion. I have an informed opinion. I have an informed opinion from multiple perspectives. And I still would never declare that I know more about what a player is or can do than a man who has devoted his entire life's work to that same process. And if I'm being real with you, if you're sitting out there and you're telling me that you know more about any player than Kirby or Glenn Schumann or Mike Bobo or any of them at a top tier school, Ryan Day, any of them, Dan Lanning, Kurt Signetti, if you're telling me that you are better than they are at that job, I just want to know why you're not collecting the paycheck that they're collecting. The answer is simple. You didn't want to devote your life to it. You didn't make it everything that you were about. So anybody who wants to make that argument, have at it. Just know I'm not going to listen to you. I have what I'm really good at. I promise you, Kirby Smart's not sitting in his office thinking he is better at video production and journalism than I am. I guarantee it. Because we all have roles in this life. We all have things we're good at. We have gifts. We have choices that we have worked to build and collect a tool set, right? That's sharper than everybody else's. I didn't put in that work. I made a choice 30 years ago. That was not what I wanted to do. I thought about it, but I made a choice to do something different. And then I spent 30 years getting really, really good at that thing. That's what we're talking about when we talk about Kirby Smart. He's my age. We were in school together at the University of Georgia. So, no disrespect to the question. I'm just saying, I don't mind the evaluation. If it's a 3-star and they think they can help them win, I'm all for it. You want to wear the red and black and play for my school on Saturdays? I'm right behind you. It's pretty simple for me. But again, the marketing of this, the industry that's been built up around it, that's for us as fans. That's not what the evaluators are doing. And if you don't believe me, have you ever heard of something called the Georgia bump or the Kirby Smart bump, where a player is a 2-star or a 3-star and then Kirby offers them and all of a sudden they're a 4-star? You've seen it with other players in other schools. That's because those people who are doing those star rankings, they know they know. That's a quiet, subtle observance and acknowledgement that the people who actually know what they're doing have now extended an offer to this player. I had it wrong if I were one of those people. So I would say don't get hung up on it. This is not Xbox, right? And here's the big string pull of the whole thing. Do coaches miss? Yep. What do you think the odds are on a coach missing on an evaluation versus, and again, no shade, no hate, Chad Simmons missing on an evaluation, or Rusty Mansell, or whoever? I don't care. What do you think the odds are? Who's going to miss more often? Trust me, on the media side, I'm telling you the secrets behind the whole thing. I can make my evaluation. I could stand up here, beat my chest, and tell you this player is X good. I can absolutely do that. But anyone who is in this industry, they're going to do that part. They're going to put their eyes on it. Okay? I don't care who it is. They're going to put their eyes on it. They're going to make their personal assessment. And then they're going to read the room. And they're going to look for a consensus. And the really poor ones at their job will just go 2% personal evaluation, 98% consensus, and just run with it. And that's how you get 5-star busts. It's not fair, ultimately, to the young men. Because even if they're a great player, take Elijah Griffin, take Ellis Robinson. Yes, take Ellis Robinson. 5-star plus recruit. And I had to sit and listen for a year and a half where people said bust, trash, not good. Why was he a 5-star? Because they thought it was supposed to be plug and play like it is on Xbox, which shows the depth of their understanding of the game that we're talking about and what it takes to be a great player. That's just the truth. And anybody out there who's doing this, you come across my video, you find this part, and I'm hurting your feelings, I don't care. I think if you think I'm hurting your feelings by seeing this, then maybe you should turn it around and look at what you're doing and be like, you know, he actually was right about that. I do lean on the consensus too much. Or maybe I'm not the end all be all of tape evaluation. So just saying. Just saying. But that's neither here nor there. Bit of a soapbox, kind of took off on it there, but I appreciate the question because I don't talk about that often. And I appreciate being able to get in there and chat on it a little bit. So I know I'm behind in the chat now. Holy moly. Let's see. Exactly. Shane's pointing out all the 3-star successes. Exactly. Exactly right. Hey, what's up, Scuttlebutt? Jumping in here from Hawaii. Good to see you, friend. I think you caught me in the middle of a rant there, maybe. But either way, welcome in. Sorry it took me so long to say hello. Anybody else join us here that I have failed to say hello to? Because I don't want that to happen. Oh, see. All right, Bruce. Appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I'm trying to do. Hey, hell, I can be wrong, right? I can be wrong like anybody else. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to I can be wrong. I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. What else is going on? And Tyrus, there it is. I think Tyrus asked the original question. He's like, I'm with you, man. McConkey, Davis, 3-star players. I feel like those players would be more hungry. Absolutely. Because we're all human. They would feel disrespected, same as anybody else, if they believe they're better than that. And if you have the right makeup, you work really, really hard, and now you've chosen to come to a place like Georgia or Alabama or Oregon, or, the top tier programs, Indiana. And you've got coaches there who are going to develop you, and you're working hard. That 3-star, you outshoot that, pretty easily. So I just don't buy in. I mean, again, I enjoy the rankings. I talk about them. I post them. Absolutely. But we all know, right? We all know what the real deal is. Let's see. Yes, the Kirby effect, Carol. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Shane, to your point specifically about Stetson, if I'm not mistaken, yes, he was a walk-on, but I believe he was rated maybe as a 2-star athlete coming out of high school. And obviously he just didn't agree. Flat, simple. And then when he just kept working and pushing and breaking, and it's like I just told my daughter yesterday, sometimes we went to see the Young Washington movie yesterday morning on the 4th of July. It was a wonderful idea. The movie was produced by a company called Angel, and they are an independent film company, and they put together this film, had some big stars in it, several actually, and it was very well done. And there's a scene in the story where young Washington is wanting to advance his state in life, his status, his stature. And his half brother is married to a very rich family, and they're holding a party at their house, or the house of his half brother's wife's father. And he wants to go be in this group because he wants to talk to that father, because he's trying to elevate his station in life and offer his services as a surveyor. But he has to get into the party. So he's denied because he doesn't have an invitation. And then he finds a way in to the house. And at that point, he does that. You see that illustrated a couple of other times in the movie. And in the theater, I turned to her, and then we talked about it yesterday after the film, which I recommend you go see, by the way. If you enjoy American history, George Washington, the American Revolution, go watch this film. Because it's about Washington before anybody knew who Washington was. It's about his come up to be, even in the discussion, to be what he became. So I would encourage you to watch it if that interests you. But beside the point, I made the point to her then that when there is no way, and it's something that you really, really, really are all in on, you find a way. You make a way because you bet on yourself. And I think you can say that is Stetson's story for sure. He just found a way. He made a way when there was no way. And that has to be respected. I don't care who you are, who you root for, none of it. Did he have help? Absolutely. But the thing that kept him moving forward the entire time was his own self-belief. In days when this is hard for me, because guys, again, if you watch this channel, you know this. If you're new here, you're going to learn pretty quick. I'm an independent operator over here. So I am brick by brick building a new business. It's not just a YouTube channel. There's so much associated with it. And it's like the iceberg. The YouTube channel is like the tip of the iceberg that's sticking up out of the water. There's so much more being built out and part of this thing that I'm working on, because we all evolve and grow. And this is my project. And that's what all of this is, right? In terms of these players, you have to believe in yourself. And when it's hard on me, I don't get the answer I want. Another door closes. I'm looking for an opportunity. It feels like it's been a minute since I've had something break right for me. I have no issues telling you that it's stories like Stetson's that remind me you have to believe in yourself first. And when I say to you guys, I appreciate you being here. Your support means more than I can express. That's what I'm talking about. There's a funny meme, well, anywhere on the internet if you look hard enough, but it's the people in your life that you know, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or throw shade here, but the people in your life that you know, they might find out that you're working on a new project or doing something, starting a new career, whatever it is. And they're like, oh, I'm happy for you. Okay, good job. But it seems so weird that the people you don't know, the people you've never met, will root you on and support you bigger, longer, in every way than the people that you know. And again, that's no shade. My family's great. My immediate family, my girls, my wife, they're amazing. But you know what I mean. The people in your universe, the people you see at work, maybe extended family, whatever. Not saying they aren't cheering for you, but maybe they don't ever support you. They don't share your stream. They don't tell somebody about what you're trying to do, And so when I say I appreciate the people out there who see this and take the time to leave a comment and say, man, I enjoyed that, or I'm going to look out for this, or thank you for sharing that, When I say it means more than I can express, you see me right now attempting to express it, and I am coming up short. It just means so much. 99% of it costs you nothing. And for the people who take the opportunity to step up and say, man, good job, just know it matters. Now, I'm talking on my own behalf. This is what matters to me. I am all in, fully invested. Again, this is more than just a YouTube channel, okay? But there are so many people out there who are doing it for fun, or it is just a YouTube channel, and I'm not speaking for them. If I had to guess, I would say this kind of thing means the same sort of stuff to them. I cannot say if I think it means the same at the same depth that it means for me. Because when you got skin in the game, you stay in the game. And that's my experience. And you guys who are here with me, and all 40 of you that are listening at this moment, the number's all over the place tonight, you were in it with me. And I appreciate that. So there we go. Man, 2 soapboxes I didn't see coming. This is a soapbox BOGO, apparently, tonight. Yes, Shane, Ryan Leaf, right? Greatest quarterback of all time. Absolute NFL bust. What about Jamarcus Russell? Same thing. Same thing. And this is a true statement if there's ever been one. There are very, very few players that are plug and play. That's fact. And honestly, there is some difference in the position discussion there, but not much. Let's see. What else is going on? Yes. Kiyoshi, you are exactly right. You are exactly right. The comment about a 5-star projection is they're like, we think this guy's good enough to make it to the NFL. Okay. Awesome. It all has to be taken with a grain of salt. Always. Let's see. What's going on over here? Yep, talking about Stetson for sure. Still fighting the good fight, earning his keep in the NFL. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, the boss. Bosworth. Ask Bosworth about how it went with Bo Jackson in the NFL. Just one example. You can have all the talent in the world, but if your priorities aren't right, if you're reading your own press clippings too much, it can all go away. And, real ones get shown for who they are. That's just how it is. Who you either got game or you don't, and real ones know. And they're the ones that aren't going to tell you all about it either, because they're more focused on the game, not about telling you who and what they are. So, Shane, I'm not going to argue with that statement too much. I'm not going to argue with that statement too much, but I will say that before Bo Jackson, there was Jim Thorpe. So if you don't know about Jim, go learn about Jim. And again, I'm not arguing this statement. I'm just saying Jim Thorpe was Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson. So you probably already know Jim. I'm just, for the people who don't, I'm just saying. Let's see. All right. What are we doing? Tim, you're welcome, man. You guys again. My effort to come on here and try to produce a good show for you. And tonight is a perfect example. All day. Could not get around to the show. Holiday weekend. You know what I mean? Couldn't get to the show. Couldn't focus on it. All day. Couldn't focus on it. 2 hours before the show, I'm like, I still got to get ready for the show. And oh, by the way, I got other stuff I need to see about. Had to get my workout in, stuff like that. And that's why I pushed the show back to 7:20 to give myself a little bit of time there. Apologies for the delay, but that's why. It's just, it's all of this activity, and anybody who takes this seriously and tries to do a good job, all of this takes time and effort, and we're not punching a clock for anybody, so we're not getting paid. We're doing it because we love it, and we're doing it because people actually seem to enjoy what it is we're doing. So there's that reciprocal give and take. And again, people choosing to be here or watch the stuff or share it, all of that is appreciation manifest. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're choosing to do that, then I appreciate it. You're choosing to be here, share it, tell a friend. I appreciate that, believe me. What is here? What else? Tyrus is asking about the Heisman. I would agree with you, Tyrus. It's supposed to go to the most outstanding player in the country. And year over year over year, with very, very, very few exceptions, I think that mark is missed. And I don't care about class. I don't care about position. I think if you dominate the game and you are, objectively speaking, the most outstanding player in the position, you should be in this discussion. I was looking at preseason watch lists for that position for the Heisman just the other day, and I'm like, okay, I mean, some of these I know how they landed on here. Some of these I can see that I think it's good that they're on these preseason lists because they should be. But inevitably, there will be someone who it just climbs into the discussion that not many people are talking about right now. And I think that's a good thing every year. But then immediately you'll hear people with a megaphone out there saying things like, oh, he's not going to win it. Well, why? If they're the most outstanding player, why aren't they going to win it? And I understand it's more, philosophy than science when you're choosing a Heisman winner. But I think sometimes too, people get caught in that moment of checking boxes or being a prisoner of the moment. And they will see something that happens in week 3 and make their mind up then and say, okay, this person's absolutely going to win the Heisman. I'm a voter. I am saying so. And then they don't want to move off of that position for fear of being thought to be wrong. And I think it goes exactly the other way. I am going to listen to and pay attention to the opinion of someone who is willing to evaluate the season as it unfolds and is played on the field. And if they started at player A and they wind up at player, G at the end of the year because the season changed that much over the course of the play, then I'm going to listen to that person much more than I'm going to listen to the person who just says, man, Trinidad Chambliss is the Heisman Trophy winner here this year, or Archer, whoever. I would value that much more. That opinion of a person who says, wow, that outside linebacker like owned the game. Wow, that two-way player helped his team achieve heights that they never would have achieved otherwise. I can get on board with that. So that's kind of how I feel about the Heisman Tyrus. Thanks for asking, friend. Yes, Shane, you know the man. Who would I prefer, Kiyoshi? All right, now I'm gonna try not to be a weasel about this, okay? And if you've watched the channel, you know that I think that there's a real competition for now for the number 2 quarterback position. Now, you didn't ask me who I think leads or who I think will win it. You asked me who would I prefer to see. Not the same question. So, given the fact that everybody in this discussion for potentially being the number 2 quarterback has limited reps that we've seen, given the fact that I, much like Kirby Smart, do not want my quarterback to turn the football over, and given the fact that I need someone who can do everything else I need him to do inside the offense, which means knows it front to back, can throw the ball where he needs to throw it, all those things, which all of these contenders for that number 2 QB position can do. It's a sliding scale as you move across the 3 in competition. My preference for now would be Ryan Puglisi, because I think there's something to be said for the fact that he has had a year where he was designated number 2 and was preparing each week in case he had to play. I think that matters. That banked process and approach and just another year of maturity. We all know he has the physical skills. My first choice, my personal preference would be Ryan Puglisi, which if you're a big watcher of the channel, you might be like, whoa, I thought he was going to say Ryan Montgomery, because I think very highly of Ryan Montgomery. But for now, right now, Ryan Puglisi is who I'd want to see first. I want him to have the first shot. Now, if he falters and you got to make a move, that leash better not be too long, because I think Ryan Montgomery is that good. Give him a shot, because at the end of the day, Georgia's got to win. So that's how I feel about that. Hopefully we don't have to revisit this discussion at any point in the future, but we'll see. I mean, again, there's been a lot of talk of, Stetson in the chat tonight. Has there ever been a bigger moment than it's happened twice to Georgia now than the JT Daniels Stetson Bennett moment, or the what is his name? His name just escaped me. The way Jake Fromm got his opportunity as a true freshman because of Eason being injured. 2 huge moments, both of which led Georgia to the national championship game. Jacob Eason, if he doesn't get hurt, Jacob was electric. And to watch him play and throw the ball, there is no telling what he could have done in a system that was more balanced with a run game and a great defense, rather than being up at Washington where he had to throw the ball so much. Such a watershed turning point moment. And to think that Jacob could have been a Georgia Bulldog, I tell you what, man, that's wild. But things work out the way they work out. And here we are. So, yes, Shane, I agree with your assessment on the quarterbacks. Absolutely. Well, see, Kayoshi, here's the thing, and I've heard other people talk about this, and I don't disagree. You say we are a mobile quarterback away from being unstoppable, but look at who is playing the position. Gunner is a mobile quarterback. Ryan Puglisi can run the football. Hezekiah Millender can absolutely run the football. Future commit Jaden Wade is a quarterback who can run the football. Jared Curtis, while he was committed, was a quarterback who can run the football. Georgia is already recruiting these players and trying to bring them in the fold. And we don't know who they're recruiting right now, but it seems they have already changed the philosophy. But the one thing that's never going to change, though, is Georgia, Kirby Smart, runs an NFL type offense, which means you have to be able to execute from the pocket intellectually and physically. And if you can run, then that's what puts you in the plus territory. So I think Georgia's already recruiting that athlete. I don't think they've recruited a statue at quarterback since maybe Jacob Eason. Jake Fromm couldn't really run either, so let's be fair. But JT Daniels certainly couldn't. But since the move to Stetson, then I think every choice since that point, because even then, who else was on the roster? DeJuan Mathis. They knew they needed mobility at the position. Kirby knew that was why he had struggled back in 2017 with stopping a mobile quarterback. He knew. And I think you see that in who they're trying to recruit. Justin Fields, right? Same thing. Now, I still don't think Justin Fields was ever really that great at Ohio State. And I don't think he's been anything great in the NFL. But the young man has had a wonderful career in terms of numbers and accolades. So, just my personal opinion. But we see what's going on with his career. So I guess he is... He what do I know, right? So there you go. Yeah, see, KOC, see, you know what's up. I like me some Ryan Montgomery. A lot. But that's why I quantified by saying right now, give Puglisi the shot just because of experience, right? And we'll go from there. Tyrus, I think you're not wrong. I'm not arguing that you're wrong. I don't know that it's Paul's fault, though. Paul is just giving people what he's being asked to give them. I think, and I'm not blaming the fans here, but I am saying that it's just reality that not everybody has the opportunity to dive into football the way they want to. And so it's easier when someone else tells them how and what to think. That's true in a lot of things in life. Not always advantageous. And I think that's where Paul falls. Or anybody who wants to be loud and doesn't care if they're wrong. Fans in general, that's part of the game for some folks. Is they just want to hear other people take positions and then filter from 2 or 3 positions and decide which one aligns with how they mostly feel. And then that's what they do. So, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just think that the fans also allow that to happen, because they don't want to do the work of whatever it is. Yes, Nussmeier can run. Absolutely. But he's not, I don't know. He's not Justin Fields, but is he JT Daniels? No. Is he as quick as Stetson Bennett? No. He probably runs more like Gunner. Is he a run first guy? No. He is a pocket first guy, which, if Kirby's being honest, is what he wants. I'm checking out the chat here. I want to make sure that I'm not missing something here. If you guys have dropped something in there. Holy moly, we've been going almost an hour and a half. Wow. Wowzers. All right, everybody. I'm going to put a bow on it. Thank you all for hanging in here with me. I hope there was some fun in here to be had. Only 16 thumbs up tonight. I see all 50 plus in the chat. I'll work harder next time to get more thumbs up. But please, if we've done a good job, tell a friend, invite them to come see us, come and hang out with us, send them a link to the channel, send them a video, send them a short form reel if you're on one of the socials. And don't forget, and if you are listening to audio podcasts out there, I do want to ask you again to please take a look at our audio downloads that we have available on Apple and Spotify. Everything will always be here on YouTube. We start here, but those platforms are places that we can really, really use a little bit of traction and amplification. So tell a friend. Again, costs you nothing. Tell a friend, let them know we're out here. Please don't forget about the Patreon offer. Good stuff. Hats here in July from our friends at Peach Jack Apparel. If you don't know them, go to the website. Find them on the socials. Just that simple. Peach Jack Apparel. Look at all their stuff. They can help you out with getting some cool swag to wear to the games here in the fall, or at least while you're sitting on your couch, if you know what I mean. Because we all watch the games however we watch the games. But y'all take care of yourselves. Hang in there. I'll see you again. If I don't see you before then, I'll see you on Wednesday. And of course, we'll do our dead level best to be back here next Sunday. If you're over on Plus already, watch the chat, watch the quips, watch the space. There's material headed to you over there, including information that you might want to know. So watch those things, and I will keep you up to date. As always, you guys will be the first to know when we have something new cooking. Until next time, you guys take care of yourselves, your friends, your family, take care of each other. And as always, go Dogs.